For her reaction, let's bring in former Deputy National Security Advisor, Katie McFarland. Katie McFarland, great to see you. Merry Christmas. You heard Peter Doocy's report. What's your reaction?
Things must get a little tense right now in the West Wing of the White House, because you have the President of the United States kind of sparring with the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu about how to proceed with the war, what's supposed to happen after Hamas is destroyed. And now you have the President and the Vice President sparring in public about it. You know, they need to sort of get a strategy here, and one of the strategies should be let Israel finish the job. Let Israel destroy Hamas. It's not only good for Israel's national security, it's good for our national security, and it's good for the security of all the countries in the region. You know, privately, the Muslim leaders, a lot of the Sunni Gulf Arab leaders, they're saying, look, would you get rid of Hamas? Do it for us. We don't want to support Hamas. We're stuck with them, so go do the job. Let Israel finish the job, Mr. President, and let them do it on their own terms.
You know, White House National Security Advisor, KT, Jake Sullivan, reportedly told Israeli leaders yesterday that they should end the, quote, intense phase of fighting against Hamas in Gaza in the next few weeks. This would be right at the start of the 2024 election, by the way. But Israel is saying it could last several more months. What do you think?
Well, first of all, have we not learned anything? You know, we're not very good. The United States is not very good at telling other countries how to fight their wars. And we're also not very good at telling them what kind of a post-war government to have, whether it was in Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, and now they're trying to tell Israel, post-Hamas, this is the kind of government we want you to have. So we ought to have learned our lesson and have a little bit more humility. But the other thing is, again, it's not going to be easy. We've just seen today that the Israelis mistakenly killed some of their own IDF soldiers. It is brutal, on-the-ground stuff. It is person to person. It is door to door. It is building to building. And that's the only way Israel is going to eradicate Hamas. If they stop now and let Hamas, it comes back.
Okay, did they mistakenly kill 3 Israeli hostages?
Yes.
That was a report coming in, right?
3 Israeli hostages, sorry.
Yeah. So,
yeah, that the IDF could kill 3 Israeli hostages.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. And, you know, KT, we're seeing the footage coming in. We have been watching and covering this, KT. We see more and more Palestinians, people in Gaza standing up saying no to Hamas. I'll read what they're saying. Hamas takes all of our money. Leave us alone, Hamas. Surrender. This is foolishness. You're killing your own people. You're killing us. They get cars, they get Jeeps, they get SUVs, they get food. Our children get nothing. This is the people of Gaza saying that, KT.
Yeah, you know, the other thing is that Israel does a favor to the Palestinian people to eliminate Hamas. So Hamas is 30,000 fighters, and the population of Gaza is well over 1 million. And the Palestinians, the aid, the human aid that goes to their humanitarian assistance, foodstuffs, it doesn't go to the Palestinian people. It gets stolen by Hamas and diverted by Hamas. And when Hamas is trying to, quote, fight against the Israelis, what are they doing? They're grabbing Palestinian women and children and throwing them in front of themselves to take the bullets so that they don't. The Palestinian people, common sense would just tell you that they can't want Hamas to govern them, because Hamas has brought them nothing but misery and strife and poverty. So, again, let Israel finish the job. Everybody will be better off.
And, KT, what you're saying is it seems that understanding, that intelligence, right, about what's going on the ground in Gaza is not hitting home with campus protesters at colleges. You know, we saw protesters, KT, again disrupt Colorado Democrat Governor Jared Polis at an pro-Israel events, shouting, "Shame on you." You know, the colleges are focusing on diversity and not education. Anti-Israel students doing these anti-Semitic protests, KT, they're ignorant about history here. The University of California, Berkeley, they did a survey. 8 out of 10 students can't name the decade for the Six-Day War. They can't locate Palestine on a map. They can't name the actual river to the sea in their anti-Israel rants, KT, and they don't know who Yasser Arafat is.
You know, the snowflakes on American college campuses, including my alma mater, MIT, are anti-Semitic, they're anti-Israel, and they're very ignorant. And they're all worried about microaggressions in safe spaces for themselves. Meanwhile, Israelis are dying and babies are getting butchered, and there is a real war going on. It just is so frustrating to see that at our best universities, some of the dumbest people are there out in the streets talking about things about which they know very little.
You know, we're hearing more and more of Republican lawmakers. They really want to kill and get rid of the billions of dollars in federal funding and tax breaks to these colleges over college anti-Semitism. I mean, Grady Trimble is reporting Harvard alone gets nearly $680 million from the federal government. They get like $350 million from state governments, $2.5 billion tax-free investments. I mean, they've got endowments the size of hedge funds where they paid something like 1.5% on those endowments as a tuition gouge and you know, raise tuition nationwide for middle-class families and their children. What do you think of this push in Congress? And you don't know. The Senate Democrats, you don't know what they're going to do. But now it feels like it's revealed that it's pulling back the curtain. This is what the colleges have really been doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they have so much money. They're so rich. They don't really care what anybody else says. You know, Penn had to fire the president of Pennsylvania because it probably cost the University of Pennsylvania maybe $100 million in donations, probably an awful lot more by keeping her there. Harvard has said, well, it's going to maybe cost us $1 billion if we keep our president, our anti-Semitic president, who is a plagiarist. But we're going to keep her anyway. We're going to support her. It might cost us $1 billion, but we don't care because we have so much money. You know, let's take a real, you're right, let's pull back the curtain and see what's really going on. How much American taxpayer dollars are going to those institutions? How much money are they avoiding in being taxes and getting tax-free? And when they're spewing not good education, they're spewing indoctrination. And meanwhile, they're not getting their job done. They're not training young Americans to go out and get jobs and be productive members of American society. Let's get a microscope on those colleges.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, Katie, what you're saying is well taken because we have news coming in that coming back to what's going on in Israel and the Middle East, one of the world's biggest shipping companies, Maersk, they just suspended shipping through the key Red Sea Strait after attacks by Houthis on merchant and commercial ships. The White House today saying, yes, this is dangerous what's going on in the Red Sea Strait with commercial ships. So why did President Biden, one of the first things he did was remove the Houthis from the terror watch list for the U.S.? Is he going to put them back on?
Yeah. Well, I would hope so. But the problem is, you know, Liz, I think it's a miracle that no Americans have died, that all these 80-some attacks on American interests, American forces, American ships, flagged vessels that are defended by American military. We've had no American casualties. It's only a matter of time. And then once we do, has anybody really thought through what this means? If you want to take out the Houthis, if you want to give Iran a message, how about we know exactly where those missiles are coming from? Why don't we just destroy the missiles? We've done that in previous administrations. Trump administration did that. And then you don't hear from these guys for a while. In the Reagan administration, when I worked for President Reagan, we reflagged some of the vessels that were the tankers that were being attacked by Iran at the time. Once that happens, you don't hear from Iran after a while. So if we just continue to sit back and sort of hope that the best, hope nothing bad happens, we are going to see American casualties in the very near future, and it will be a great tragedy.
Gosh, you know, hope for the best is not a policy. Katie McFarland, thank you so much for your expertise. We really appreciate you, and Merry Christmas.